Hey everyone, and welcome to another video for Midian Gaming. Today we are doing part 3 of the 4-part series looking at the cards that have been released for Vampire the Eternal Struggle under the Anarchs, yeah? So we've had Camarilla, we've had Sabbat, and now their next line that's coming out is the Anarchs. I'm pretty excited. We've seen 2 great decks that we've covered so far, and we're about to get into the third now. So let's get straight into it. And they are coming out with Gangrel. Now, I'm going to be totally open and honest here. Gangrel have never been my... I've had no interest in Gangrel, really. I know we've got Anastasia out there, top line Vampire, and have played Gangrel in the past. Look, I feel that the Gangrel have suffered from bleeding, like having real trouble bleeding their opponents to actually get things done. And that can really affect the game, as well as with votes and anything like that. But they are a very unique clan, and they've got some really unique abilities. So let's just get straight into it rather than me babbling on. So Clan Gangrel are outsiders. We're going to cover the fluff first. Roaming wilderness and suburbs, straying from politics and intrigue. They keep in tune with nature and with their inner beast, and they value their freedom and are prepared to fight for it. So they used to be part of the Camarilla ages ago, and then they broke from it. They disagreed with it. They were always on the fringes anyway, yeah? The clan has now joined the Anarch movement. They will not be pushed around and their claws run deep. So, yeah, the Gangrel are pretty scary in regards to the aggravated damage that they can do. So this deck takes a defensive stance, planning for the late game while occasionally hitting opponents with precise attacks where it hurts the most. Your strengths are Animal Companions, Anarch Tactics, and the Protean shape-changing powers of your minions, which help to pass blockers, intercept enemies, and excel in combat. And man, do they excel in combat. Like, you don't understand unless you come against like the Gangrel that, you know, you dish out the damage and they dish it back, not as much, but with their aggravated damage they can really send you to torpor, and then they heal the damage that you do to them. Oh man, it's it can get pretty nasty getting into combat with Gangrel. All right, let's take a look. Look, we've got the Vamps, we've got our master cards, we've got a bit of animalism, we've got Protean, yeah, and obviously Fortitude in there as well. All right, let's take a look at the cards that have been spoiled. Massimiliano, all right, Anarch Baron of Bello Horizonte, +1 strength. Bello Horizonte, does that mean beautiful horizon or beautiful horizontal? Someone let me know. It's probably Spanish. I'm just having a guess there. All right, we've got a 7 cap with 2 advanced disciplines being Fortitude and Animalism, and only a minor in Protean. Look, you're probably paying for the +1 strength and the vote defense as well. So that's where we are with that vamp. All right, let's keep going. Camille Pox, I'm going to say. All right, advanced Protean, Fortitude and Animalism in minor, +1 bleed. Fantastic. Look, you're paying a 5 cap, you're paying a little bit more, but you're getting the +1 bleed, which, like I started to talk about, I believe was the weakness of the Gangrel clan, being able to bleed you, being able to affect your influence. They can hit your vamps pretty hard and they can protect themselves, but going forward and really making an impact is hard. Now you've got Camille coming into it with the +1 bleed. Normally, that's a bit of a threat, yeah, and you might want to block that, which falls straight into the Gangrel's hands where they want you there, and then they're going to get rid of you in that respect. And Camille also has defense with the Fortitude in there, and the Animalism will help protect in combat by doing extra damage and help with the intercept. Oh man, Animalism. All right, backways. You're paying 2 as a Methuselah to get this out, but unique location, lock to give a Gangrel you control +1 stealth, helping to get those bleeds or any other actions that you want to get out. Yeah, Hannah Neckel Leinen. Now, man, this picture is so Norse and Nordic. I love it. You've got an American eagle on there though, so possibly US based, not sure, could be anything. But you know what, you've got a 4 cap and you've got all the main disciplines all in minor. Great vampire, solid vampire. All right, Dario Zizgler coming in at a 5 cap. You're paying for thaumaturgy, which, if you know any of my videos, I hate paying for stuff I'm not going to use. But you know what, that advanced fortitude is going to be very, very handy. So this is a guy that can take, possibly intercepts, block, and take the damage and come out still looking all right, and maybe doing some damage as well. Now, Deep Ecology, it's a reaction card, requires an Anarch. It's got all 3 abilities you can use, not at the same time, but you can pick and choose, which is the toolbox aspect of these Anarch decks that we are seeing. So Animalism, only usable during an action directed at you, plus 2 intercept or a card you control. Very good. Fortitude, reduce the bleed against you by 2. How good's that? So I have stated that they have a problem with going forward. Now they also have the ability to stop their predator from ousting them a lot quicker by having something that they can't bounce. And if they don't want to intercept, they can reduce it by 2 while keeping their cards for something else. And Protean, only usable by a locked vampire. The vampire burns 1 blood to unlock. Thereby, you know, you don't just have your street... what is that card called? I just had it in the... Freak Drive. That's it. You don't just have your Freak Drive. Now you've got Deep Ecology doing it at minor and usable by a locked vampire. That's great. You don't need an action to be successful or anything like that. It just needs to be a locked vampire and they can play it. Bang, 1 blood to unlock. It's great. It's going to be quite scary seeing how many actions 1 vampire can actually do with the Gangrel. Ooh, Indira, Anarch, Advanced Protean, cost of 3. Look, this is a great vampire, especially when you need to get the cost down and need to get more vamps on the table. Very good vampire. Great. You know, always scary with that Protean. Alright, I'm going to have trouble with this name. Joachim de Cadiz, I'm going to say. Alright, we've got minor Protean, we've got minor Fortitude. Anarch, it's a 3 cost. It's good. I like it. Like, you've got the Protean as well as the protection. Like, you could be paying 3 just for the Protean, or you could be paying 3 and get both of these at minor, depending on how your deck works and what cards you put in. Especially when you're building a deck up from scratch, you'll make that choice as to which vamp is more important to your deck build, yeah? So it's great to see that those options are in there. Martina Srnankova. All right. We've got 2 advanced disciplines in Protean and Fortitude, which is fantastic because Animalism you really only need at minor to get some really good benefits from it. And Martina gets +1 intercept during bleed actions. So good. So 1, we've got some extra stuff with going forward, but we've got so much more defense now to protect that precious resource, that pull to help you go forward in your game. Yeah, it's great. Nathan Turner, Anarch, Advanced Protean and Animalism. So you're starting to see that change in skills there depending on how you want to build the deck. Look, I'm not a fan of this artwork. Yeah, so we'll just keep going. Russel Fedorenko, 2 costs and minor Protean. So, you know, very good vampire. Get those numbers down. Get vampires on the table. Very good. All right. And now we get into some of the cards. We've got both an action modifier and a reaction card. So it can be used for either. Very toolboxy type aspect as we've seen. So only usable if a minion attempts to block. The blocking minion gets -1 intercept. If this action is blocked, this vampire gets 1 optional maneuver and cannot use equipment during the resulting combat. That's not much of a problem as very rarely the Gangrel are using weapons. Their hands are their weapons. They're doing aggravated damage when they can do it with cards. So that's the action modifier. As a reaction, they get +1 intercept. If this vampire blocks, they get 1 optional maneuver and cannot use equipment during the resulting combat. So very good. Look, it is like just a repicture of an older card. So very good. Form of the Wolf, only usable before range is determined. A vampire can only play 1 Form of the Wolf each combat. So as a combat at minor, the vampire gets +1 strength this combat. You know, very good. So the way Aggravated works is that the first damage doesn't do any damage. It merely sends you to torpor. Any extra damage comes off. If you've got no blood to pay for that extra damage, your vampire gets burned. So that's where this is important. That +1 strength in the combat can mean the difference between a vampire going off to torpor and a vampire being totally burned outright. Now, as above, and this vampire gains 1 optional press this combat. So not only that, but if they can't finish you off in that first round of combat, they can continue the combat again, and it's still the same combat. They still keep that +1 strength from the minor abilities. So that is so great. And then final card that we've got to look at for today, yes, it is the final card, is Eyes of the Wild. Let's take a look. Only usable by a locked Gangrel, okay? This Gangrel unlocks and attempts to block. During this action, this Gangrel can burn 1 blood to get +1 intercept. Lock this Gangrel after action resolution if they did not block this action. All right. So why is this card good, and why is it different to like a whole bunch of other ones? It's because it's all in the one card, yeah? So this vampire can be locked. They unlocked, therefore you don't need your wakes or anything like this, and they get the +1 intercept, which means you don't need like your bats and your rats and everything else like that, and you don't need any abilities for that. You can have your 2-cat vampire that doesn't have animalism or doesn't have any of the abilities that you want, and you can unlock them and get these benefits without the disciplines. So fantastic. And based on that alone, I'm saying that this is the MVP of the reviews and views of cards that we've seen in this deck today, okay? So if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If I've missed anything or you want to add anything or just give us some feedback, put it down in the comments. If you're loving the channel, it's a second of your time, give us a subscribe. It's a second of your time, it's a lifetime of love for us, okay? See you all.